Hey, how's it, Mzansi? Welcome to Beyond the Surface right here, a production brought to you by Impact Network Foundation, where we unveil the heart of God's ministry. Now, listen here, we're going to be diving deep into most of the stuff that we don't know about our guests. So we're going to be going beyond the surface and kind of unveiling some of the hidden stuff, some things that you don't see on social media, some things that the public does not get to witness, but we will be diving deeper into that. The name is Tim Bangila, and I'm going to be your host for today's episode. Some call me Timothy, but for some, I am known as God's favorite child. Any other one is a counterfeit, and we can't have it. But enough about me today. So our guest for today is a multi-talented musician, a songwriter, a husband, and surprisingly a lawyer as well. So we need to make sure that what we say and do can probably be used against us in this segment. But nonetheless, Odette, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for having me.
I'm really happy to have you here. I need to be very cautious about the words that I'm using. I don't want to be cancelled because I know that you might say, no, Tim, this is against the Constitution. So I'm
let's relax. Let's
okay.
relax.
All right. So I'll just word my phrases very carefully.
I'll let you be.
All right. Anyways, Odette, before I even dive deep into anything, Layton.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm definitely not the first who's going to ask this.
And definitely not the last.
I'm sure. But where is that derived from? Because Layton is not something we generally hear in South Africa. Is it? Are you from UK, the United States?
No.
What is the history behind that?
Proudly African by the grace of God. Layton is my second name.
Okay.
So there is already somebody with my surname in the music industry. So my surname is actually Moya, right? And you've got a Stolo Moya that is also in existence here. So I did not want people asking, are you guys related? No, we are not related. Mm-hmm. So I then said, you know what, let me just use my first name and second name as I would call it a stage name.
Okay, so generally you prefer to be unique. As you did say that there was another artist that already has that surname.
Yes.
But is it really a problem though, honestly?
It is. It's not really a problem, but it's still my first name and second name, really. Nothing that hectic. I just did not want questions of, are you guys related? In the kingdom, yes, we are, but not by blood.
Not by blood.
Yes.
Okay, no, very, very interesting. And
yeah.
I must say, when I had spoken to one of my colleagues, and I told him that, no, I'll be interviewing Odette Layton. And she asked me, is he coming from the United States, And
no, he's not.
I was telling her, no, we're going to find out. And I'm sure that has been cleared out. So, guys, he's not from the United States.
No,
he just wanted to avoid a conflict of interest having the same surname as another artist.
There you go.
But I did mention earlier on that you are a lawyer by profession.
Yes, sir.
By profession, or you just feel like you're a young Annalise Keating?
No, here's the funny part. So I've got a law degree. I'm a lawyer. But I do not practice law. I'm in mining.
Okay.
So I'm an entrepreneur in mining. I'm not in court and I'm not defending anyone. Don't call me asking for for me to represent you or anything like that. I'm actually in mining, and by the grace of God, we're doing stuff there.
So how did that passion for law come about? Is it something that, because, in most of our African families, they kind of tell you, I want you to do law. I want a son that is a doctor, an engineer. Did you have a big passion for that, or it's just something that, was kind of forced onto you?
My biggest passion has always been music, right? Now, by the grace of God, in ministry. But it has always been music. And we have heard multiple stories of artists and record labels, artists and their marketing managers, and artists with all of this other team or all of these other massive houses in conflict. And mainly it's because there isn't really an understanding of legal matters.
Yeah.
People do not read the fine print. And so I thought the best way in which I can be able to protect myself is if, one, I know the law. It was specifically for music, but now it's working for me in ways I never thought. As I said, I'm in mining, and we deal with a lot of legal stuff there as well. So I would not say I was told to do it. My parents really wanted me to go to university. Whatever I did was my, via my own volition, really. Mm-hmm. It was not necessarily because I was told to do it. It's something that I just really wanted to do.
So we can safely say that your love for law kind of fed from your music career.
100%.
So your love for music started before your love for law.
Yes, correct.
So how did you get into that music space? Like what was that awakening moment? Like, hey, listen here, I love music.
I can't pinpoint a moment really, but I would say I clearly remember when I was in primary school, And I've never been shy. I've never had, not I wouldn't say stage fright. I've never been afraid of being in front of people. So my class teacher at the time wanted us to go and present something at the assembly. And they brought up a song, I think, Ki Tula Sizwe. Ne? And she was like, I need somebody to lead the song. I was like, oh, fine, I will. I'll do it. So Ekaya at home, we are Amazayun. So we sing a lot. And to me, it wasn't anything special, per se. I was just like, I know the song and I'd like to lead it anyways, because nobody was raising their hands. I said, I would do it.
Your time to shine.
I really didn't even see it as a time to shine. I was just like, hey, something needs to be done and I will do it. So when that happened, they actually were shocked. They're like, you can sing. And I remember in the school choir at the time, you were supposed to start joining the choir from grade 5. So when presented everything at the assembly, and school kids are going to be school kids, they were screaming, they were excited, teachers were shocked. And I remember the school choir master at the time said, I know we are supposed to start taking students from grade 5 for the choir, but I will just make an exception for you.
It was like an early rise to fame for you. Clearly.
And rise to fame. I don't know whether we should call it that, but it was a moment of realization of saying there is something here, you know, and the rest is history, as they say.
You had spoken about the learners being shocked in the school, you know, when you had opened your mouth and started singing. You know, how was your years in primary school? What kind of person were you? Because judging from what I'm seeing now, it does seem like you were a bit of an introvert and you kind of, you know, came out of it. But how was your childhood from primary school going to high school? What kind of child were you?
Firstly, I was never an introvert. I've never been an introvert at all.
Yeah, no, clearly we can see that. We are getting a sense of that.
I've never been an introvert at all. I was a very loud child. So at home, it was a lot of us at home, right? I think we were like 10 under a roof at some point. So in
10
order
siblings or 10 family members?
10 family members.
Okay.
So in order for you to be heard, you needed to be loud because it was a competition of whose voice is the loudest. So I never had problems with I've never been a shy child, as I said. I've never really had any problem, as I said, with standing in front of people because I come from a large family. So I was a very, very loud child, very outspoken. I would not say I suffered hectically from bullying because I was just very loud and very outspoken. If there's something that happened that I never liked, I would say it. If I saw you doing something to a person that I love and I didn't like it, I'd say it.
No filter.
No filter
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. And it helped me quite a lot, you know. And so I was never an introvert. I was always an extrovert. And it also helped with the music because you've got to be in front of people all the time. And I enjoyed it.
So do you think that if you weren't really in that surrounding with 10 family members and you having to be extroverted, do you think that would have kind of played a part in you being a meek person? And how do you think that feeds into your music as well?
I do. I do, mainly because I believe that children are as a result of their environment. Well, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I do believe that early development really depends on one's environment. And as you are rightfully saying, if perhaps I had a different type of family, I would have been a different type of person. And it definitely does impact my music because I think my sound also is curated from being heard.
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily being loud, but being heard.
Okay. You had spoken about environment, which is something that we all need to take into consideration, especially with our walk of Christ.
Yeah.
And there's this one saying that says, you should not know Christ because you're born into a Christian family, but you should know Christ for yourself.
100%.
So when did you get that awakening moment that, no, listen here, I need to give my life to Christ? Or did it kind of ease out of the fact that you were born into a Christian family?
Not at all. So I started doing music quite a lot and started traveling around the world by the grace of God. I was not doing gospel music at the time. I got to do a lot of things at a young age, but I felt so empty. Cliche as it may sound.
Yeah.
I felt extremely empty. At the time, I never knew what depression felt like, but because traveling the world as a very young child in a group setting, with no one really to be there to cater for your emotions, and you're also going through adolescence, and you're getting into your puberty stage, and you've got all of these things happening, I started doubting myself a lot. And as much as would perform in front of people and the audience would go crazy, or they would scream, or they would assure you of the fact that you can sing, I still never felt like I am enough.
Yeah.
And it was not anything that could be filled by any man, but Christ alone. And I remember I then went to a church to perform at a church. And when I went to perform there at a church, I met this one guy. He has gone to be with the Lord. And I remember he just came to me and he embraced me with such a warm embrace, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, how? Hey, Baba. And then, it's like, listen, you blessed me so much. Do you mind coming back to church again next week? Just to fellowship this time. I was like, I do not have anything I'm doing on Sunday anyways. Let me just go. And he was persistent throughout that week. How are you doing? What's happening? It's as if he just knew I needed reassurance.
Yeah.
And went the following Sunday, went the Sunday after that, and it was mainly because that guy kept on showing me love.
Yeah.
And I remember asking him to say, this is strange to me. Why? Like, what do you want? I'm coming from the music industry. People are usually this kind because they want something.
Yeah.
They either want you to come and perform for free or something.
Yeah.
And he just said, I love you like this because Christ has loved me first.
Wow.
And if you think that this love is too big or too great or too warm, wait till you feel the love of Christ. And I was like, okay, I want to then get saved. That's why I always say to people, I was never saved because I'm afraid or because of the fear of going to hell. I was saved because of the revelation of the love that Christ has for me.
Wow.
As a result, it curated or made me develop a personal relationship with him.
That is, as much as it might seem very basic, but it's something that is very great, because most people's stories coming to Christ was, no, I had a dream, I slept, and God came to me, visited me. But with you, it's very smooth. Someone showed genuine love to you and reminded you that the love of Christ is even more than the love that they are showing to you. That brings us back to the fact that we as Christians need to show unconditional love. Very important, especially when it comes to not only getting people into the kingdom of God, but keeping them there.
Keeping them
there, which
Correct.
is the most important thing. How then do you describe your relationship with Christ? Because most people overcomplicate a relationship with God. They say, no, you must be holier than thou. You must always make sure you do this. At 6 a.m., you must be on your knees. The Bible must never be on your left side of the bed, So many crazy stuff. But how would you then explain your relationship with God?
I use my marriage, for an example.
Ladies, he's married.
Very much
just
so.
in case you wanted to
a lovely,
It's off the
beautiful
market.
lady. I use my marriage as an example. I choose my wife every single day. And I choose to live and to be fully committed, rather, to her because of the love that I have for her. It does not mean I do not have eyes.
Yeah.
Neither does it mean I do not have the ability to do all kinds of things that could be done. But because of the relationship and the love that I have for her, she does not force me to do it.
Yeah.
I choose to do it because of the relationship and the love that I have with her. People introduce God as a narcissistic God, a God that wants you to go to hell,
Yeah.
a God that wants you to do this, a God that wants you to do that,
When
a
it's
God
not
that
the case.
just wants you, he's so hateful, he just wants to burn you. And that's not how God is. God is a loving God. He sacrificed, he left heaven to come and buy you with his blood. What other greater love is there? And simply because he wants a relation. Somebody was talking and they were also using marriage as an example to say when they got married to their spouse, they wanted to outperform their spouse, to show them that I come from a family, so I can cook better. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And one day they broke down because their spouse knew better than they did.
Yeah.
And she called the mother to say, Mom, I married a man who knows everything better than I. And the mother said, you never got married to outperform that man. You got married because you love that man. You want a relationship with that man. And that's how Christ is with us. He wants a relationship with us. He understands that we are human. And he wants you to love him just as he loves you. Could it be that if people were introduced to a God that is loving, they would turn from their wicked ways based on relationship other than fear. Because if we do things based on fear, that's why we fall and rise all the time.
True.
Because, we are trying to do it via our own strength and our own might, and it's not coming from a relationship perspective. But if it's that personal, it's coming from a revelation of love, it's going to be easy for you to let all of these other things go, because you understand that he who loved you first loves you just as much, and you also have developed that kind of love for him, if that even makes sense.
Lots of sense. It makes all the perfect sense that it needs to make. You did say earlier on that you are a lawyer, so I want to go a bit into your music industry. We know that you already safeguarded yourself as a musician and knowing your rights and making sure that you're not scammed by any of these people, that you are on the right side of the contract and, whatever it is that you're getting into yourself. But what would you say is your favorite part about your line of work, which is the music industry? Let's leave the law aside of it. What do you like about the music industry?
So I would not base it on the music industry, because right now I am doing what I'm doing as ministry, and I'm doing it in accordance to God's terms. So I will then not be able to answer it based on the music industry standards, because people have got all kinds of experiences in the music industry, and most of which are not very, very nice. But what I enjoy about ministry is the fact that God takes care of his own.
Yeah.
And God will fuel his own. If you do what he says you should do, he will take care of the rest of the things. Most of the times, my favorite part is seeing things come together, and I just don't know how. And that's the God part. That's my favorite part of it. And that's the best part, to actually do it via ministry. Because I say, Lord, I want to do it. I'm available, but I do not want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 happening.
Yeah.
So take care of that, and I will take care of ensuring that I go and minister to your people. And he does.
This was bringing me to my next question as well. And as you have mentioned, because Dr. Benjamin Dube once said that having a good voice is never enough. Being a musician, especially within the gospel space, it's a ministry. How important do you think it is for artists to understand that, listen here, what I am doing is not only about having a good voice, but it's about being spirit-filled and drawing people closer to God?
Being a minister means you're working behind the pulpit. You become the voice of God to the people. How do you become a voice of one you do not even know? It's very, very important to develop that, what we're just speaking about right now, personal relationship with Christ. Because somebody once said, you can't take people to where you've never been.
Yeah.
So people need deliverance. People need a personal encounter. And God uses you as that vessel. So if you just have a good voice, all you're going to entice is emotions. But in order for you to transcend the physical into the spiritual, you've got to have a personal relationship with him. So he's got to do the pruning within you first. Then you can go in and preach or minister to people and they actually get delivered. He's got to do the deliverance within you first. If you have that encounter with him first on a personal basis, then it's going to be easy here, right? So I do agree with the doctor and the bishop that it's beyond a great voice. One needs a personal relationship with God. One needs personal encounters with God in order for them to be able to take God's people there.
Beautiful, but being a minister in music, it's not easy. It really isn't a walk in the park, and I'm sure that you on your side have come across some form of I'm not going to say disappointments, but sometimes you feel like you failed yourself. Like, listen here, I'm stuck here, or maybe I've done wrong. Do you have any of those instances in your walk with Christ, or generally in this ministry that you are in with music? And how have you kind of dealt with that to get yourself out of that situation?
Previously, I would always say that the first 10 seconds after I get off stage are the loneliest I've ever been, because at that time what I'm doing is, oh God, I could have done this better here. I could have done that better there.
Yeah.
I could have done this better here. But that's according to my, I wouldn't say carnal mind, but that's according to my perfectionist mind. And yet when I went there to deliver what God said I should deliver, done. And now what I have done to deal with that is, Lord, it's about you.
Yeah.
It's never about my voice. The voice is very important. It must be there, by the way. You can't just be getting on. No, please.
We are being
Yeah, no.
I'm filled with the Spirit.
Listen, please listen to the words, not the. I beg, my friend. No, the voice needs to be there. Let the gift be present. Then the rest of the things, right? But what I'm saying is, because the gift is there, and it's not about the gift. It's about the source and the giver of the gift. So what now I have done is, Lord, it is just about you.
Yeah.
It's not about how great I sound. It's not about this note or that note or my choice of notes, or it's about you giving me what I was supposed to go there and do. If, Lord, I have done it, I am fine.
If I fulfilled my
If
mandate,
I fulfilled my mandate, rightfully so, I am fine. So whether I got caught up there and, it's as long as what I was there to do has been done, I'm good.
fulfilled your purpose.
Yes, sir.
And that's the most important part of it all. And we can't run away from the fact that ministering in music still makes you part of the music industry.
Yeah.
You know, we really can't run away from that fact. And I always tell people, being in any media-related industry requires some sort of thick skin. You know? You need a lot of thick skin, especially with this new social media age where there's a lot that goes on. You can get bashed on social media. You can get negative comments. Have you received any form of type of negativity coming from the socials or from just this industry in general?
Oh, a lot. Oh, I have. Yes, I have.
Care to share any of those experiences?
I have. And those are things that get you to second guess yourself and second guess your gift. And you are compared to a lot of other people. And are you good enough or are you not? You know, you have got to have the thickest of skins, because you are not going to be everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
And even the way in which you minister, some people don't like it. People like all kinds of different stuff. People may like contemporary, some may like traditional. Those that like traditional will hate on the contemporary. Those that like contemporary will hate on the traditional. So I have received that. I have been compared to a lot of other people. Why aren't you like this? Why don't you sing like this? Why don't you? It does get to you because you are still human.
Yeah.
Right? But I, by the grace of God, I've been surrounded by such a great team of people. I've got a great team behind. I'm not doing all of this by myself. Yeah. God has blessed me with a great team. So the first they did, my manager has told me to say, listen here, you are not selling ice cream. So not everybody is going to like you. What you are here for is ministry and to do God's work. If you have done God's work, whoever says, go guy, where, how, doesn't really matter. As long as you've done your part. And that's it.
But how do you somehow overcome that? You know, because as much as you might be surrounded by certain people, but when you go behind the door and the door closes and you're alone in your room, how do you kind of, just block out all of that negativity? Like, what is your go-to tactic in terms of recentering yourself and bringing back that peace into your life?
Odette didn't call himself. Odette never called himself. And I am doing this because it is a calling. Therefore, when such things happen, they are supposed to happen, by the way, to test
inevitable.
your faith, right? Also, so I just go back to that to say, Lord, this hurts, but I never called myself. And who said it was supposed to be easy anyways? Jesus himself received backlash.
Yeah. And
we're supposed to be like Christ. And he is our main example. And so if he received backlash, we are going to receive it as well. Some people are going to go as far as saying, why are you even doing gospel? Just go back there, man. Sing baby, baby.
Baby, baby.
And I'm just in some, but no, it's beyond the gift. So it goes back to that, to say Jesus himself received backlash. Jesus himself was not received everywhere. Some received him, some didn't. Some wanted to stone him when he was preaching about his father. Yeah. And yet he still went on, So I go back to that, to the fact that this is a calling, and I'm doing this in accordance to Christ. And if he received the backlash, I too most probably would.
But I mean, people need to be careful with you. I mean, you're a lawyer, you could sue. You could, your rights, so people should be very careful with how they come up to you. One thing that I always like to ask, just general people when I come across them, especially in today's time, we are currently going through a very big revival. And I'm sure that we've all been noticing it, especially with the youngsters on social media. We've been seeing so many of our favorite influencers, celebrities getting baptized, coming to Christ. And kudos to Rory Sang. She's been doing a very
amazing
job.
work.
She's doing an amazing job in terms of bringing all these young people and reminding them that, listen here, being a Christian is fun, Yeah. It's cool. You can still be a Christian and still be a cool person in this life. How does that make you feel, seeing that, all these young people are now coming to Christ and taking their relationship with God seriously?
It makes me very, very happy. And beyond that, as I said, they are finally getting it.
Yeah.
It's about relationship. It's not about trying to be perfect, dressing right, and walking a certain way, and speaking a certain way, because all of that is outward appearance. The Bible says men look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And it's about the heart. And so people like the great minister Uru Sang, when she's doing God's work the way she is, and she is driving people back to Christ to have a relationship with Christ, the outward may look however it wants to, but if your heart is in the right place, then you're right. It makes me very, very excited. And there is indeed a great revival. And I wish to see more people jump into it, more ministers jump into it as well, to make this about Christ himself and not about us and not about our gifts, just about turning people back to where they're supposed to be, having the fellowship with him.
That's it. Unveiling the hearts of ministry. That's
Hallelujah.
exactly it.
Yeah.
And it's good to get them into the kingdom, but how
Yes,
do we
sir.
keep them there? Especially these young ones that could easily stray, and could be easily influenced or could easily relapse and all of that. How do we, get them to stay in the kingdom after we've brought them in?
Back to what I've been saying.
Exactly.
Love, relationship. The first thing one of my teachers in high school, she used to lead the Bible study, used to say, people don't read the Bible. They read you as a Christian. So how you deal with certain things to those that are not Christian, they look at you and then they umbrella everything under Christianity. Yeah, Christians really are like this.
Yeah.
So I was saved because somebody showed me love. I was not saved because somebody told me I was going to burn in hell. Somebody showed me love. If we as the body of Christ show people love, direct them back to Christ, teach them a personal relationship with Christ, let Christ deal with the rest of the things. Don't be a deputy Jesus now, wanting to put in the whiplash and just like this. No. When a person has had or has a relationship with Christ, that personal conviction within them will get them to transform and change and be all of these other things that we desire for them. It's not in your place for you to be able to do that. Let Christ be doing that. Yours is to love and share the truth.
Yeah.
Show them what the word says. Show them what Christ wants them to be, and love them through their transition. And watch Christ do the work.
Yeah. That is extremely true, and we don't really take seriously love. People take that very lightly, love, but Christ is love.
God
And
is love, yeah.
once you give person love, you've given them Christ already.
100%.
What more can you give them?
100%.
And I always say one thing is the saying that goes, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
100%.
It's very easy to say, but how much do you love yourself? I think that's where now we need to, dive into that conversation. Do you think it's important for someone to kind of love themselves first and be a bit selfish with the love that they give themselves before they can give it to others? Because as you did say earlier on, you can only give out what you have.
100%.
Yes, so just speak more on that in terms of people loving themselves, loving who you are, loving where you are at life, and not kind of beating yourself down for minor sins or certain imperfections. And, how does that feed into loving others as well?
People give all kinds of excuses as to why they don't love themselves. My environment, I grew up like this. This is just how I am. I've got to be like this for X, Y, and Z. These are my walls. These are my shields. These are my that. These are my this. But this is what I believe. We already within us know what is right and what is wrong. Yes, the world might have beaten us to certain corners, but it is of paramount importance not to be driven by our history, our story, by things that we could not control. Now that we have the control of changing ourselves, deal with that. Deal with your past first. Thereafter, dealing with your past, now accept the fact that you are where you are. And I believe that the following. We all have got our own personal journeys.
Yeah.
The moment you start looking at somebody else's journey,
Comparison is a thief of joy.
exactly. So you are degrading your own destiny to say theirs is superior than yours. As a result, you start looking at their map. Where they're supposed to turn left, yours says right. Because you're not looking at their map and you are also trying to turn right, you end up not fitting there.
Yeah.
As a result, derailed, delayed, etc., etc., etc. So it is very important, first, before anything, as Christians, focus on ourselves, right? Focus on dealing with your past, dealing with your things, because you can't love yourself with all the thorns and the knives and so deal with that hurt, all these buried things that you have inside. Unbury them and deal with them. Give them over to Christ. Speak to someone. See therapists. It's okay. Speak to pastors. Thereafter, love yourself. After that, then you can be able to go on and give other people the love that they need, if that even makes sense.
Lots of sense. I keep telling you, everything you're saying is making lots of sense. And especially when we get to listen to the message that you're conveying deeply, it is very important for people to work on themselves. And,
Yes,
most of the time people say, us as Christians, we shouldn't go to therapy. We shouldn't take depression seriously because just pray, and you'll be fine. Do you think that is true? Or do you think that there
is not
actually is
true.
room for us to go to therapy and fix ourselves,
There are Christian therapists.
Yeah.
You have got to go and speak to people. I always say, human beings are like a bottle. You see this bottle? Matters of life are like the water inside.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you can't take certain things anymore. And you get to a point where one small drop makes you to overflow.
Yeah.
That's why certain people, one small thing, somebody just steps on their toes just a bit, just a little bit, and they lose themselves. Simply because of the fact that they have got issues that they have not dealt with. So find Christian therapists, speak to them. You don't know everything by yourself. And God himself has equipped those people.
Yeah.
There is a reason why God has allowed them to be there, in order for you to go and use them. It does not necessarily mean that you are less than when you're going to speak to somebody else. Those people have gone into, the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. They've gone in to study. They've shown themselves approved as therapists. They can be able to deal with such matters. Trust that they'll be able to deal with that. And also, be good. People need to be kind to themselves, because it starts with the kindness towards yourself that then says, listen here, I've got matters like this and that, and I've got to go and deal with them. What then do I do? Brother so-and-so is a therapist. My brother, can I just see you? Go on. And depression is real. As I said, at some point I was facing depression until somebody showed me love. Somebody spoke to me and made me understand the things that I was going through, And as a result, I saw the love of Christ through speaking to someone. So go and speak to people. These things are real. Don't be ignorant towards those things. That's why you hear some Christian people that are committing suicide, because they're ignorant towards such things. Find Christian therapists, speak to them, and utilize them.
And cast your burdens unto Jesus.
For he cares for you. My God.
I'm going to ask you this question, and it might seem a bit controversial, right? It might spark some controversy. But I just want to pick on your brain and just kind of get your input in this.
This is the moment when I sue. This is the moment where I sue.
That's what we said at the beginning. We need to make sure that what we are saying is aligned with act number 13 of section.
Yeah, go on.
We have seen various artists. It might be not only in the gospel space, but within the secular space as well. They are cancelling their concerts. They're cancelling their events because of low ticket sales. So now, is it about the amount of people that attend your event, or is it the message that you're trying to convey and fulfilling your mandate and your purpose? Like, what is your take on that? Because we're not going to mention any artists, but there have been a few artists that have been planning tours, that have been planning events, but they have cancelled it because of low ticket sales. Do you think that the purpose of conveying the message has kind of been lost? Is it now about having lots of ticket sales, having lots of crowds, or is there still that little purpose of conveying the message to the world?
Wow. Thank you for asking me that, because this then gives me the opportunity. But you're going to put me in trouble with gospel artists. You're going to put me in trouble. But God was clear with the mandate that he gave to me. If I could, even the Love EP that I just released, I could give it to people for free. We are also going to have a show. Allow me to just speak about this.
Yeah, no,
We're also just going to have a show early next year. We'll release the dates, and it's going to be free of charge. People can just bring themselves in there. To me, personally, God has said what we do for him needs to be for free. So we're not going to sell his message nor the gospel. We're going to give people access into the gospel free of charge. This was my desire for a very, very long time. Not for anything that I do for Christ to be determined by money, by this, by that. And I told God, handle the rest of the things that I need handled.
Yeah.
Then I will handle your stuff. And by the grace of God, he has handled that. And that's what I'm saying for me personally.
I mean, you can only speak for you personally.
I can only speak for myself. what we now do shall and will be for free. When we go to minister, we don't charge. We do it for free. Any show that Odette Layton is ever going to host is going to be free of charge. This is what God said to me. This is the revelation I got. This is a passion of mine for people to just come and receive Christ and not have money as an excuse.
Yeah.
So it is about Christ, the message, turning his people back to him, and never about any of these other extra things around. This is Odette Layton's revelation.
Beautiful. In simple words, and I'm sure that you're going to have crowds and crowds of people now, because those people
We pray so.
I'm not 100 rand, I don't have 100
Just
rand to
bring
get."
yourself.
We will just bring ourselves, and
Bring
we're going to be there
yourself.
in numbers,
Yes,
definitely.
sir.
I want to speak about fashion meets gospel.
Mm.
And we know that you're a fashionista. We follow you on Instagram.
Wow.
You've rocked up with some crazy outfits that I need to come and collect at your wardrobe after this. But do you think it's important to always make sure that you look a certain type of way, being a minister, and not being too? I don't even know if there's a way of people of the world dressing, because they say that people of the world dress a certain type of way, and Christians shouldn't dress in that kind of way. So do you kind of think about all of that when you're presenting yourself before a crowd?
I believe in excellence. Our God is a God of excellence, right? God does not deserve substandard, ever. So I'll not take credit for my outfits. I have got a team of people, as I said. Because I believe in excellence, I got myself a team of people that are going to be able to advise me and help us produce that standard of excellence that I believe the kingdom of God and God himself deserves. And so at Maseo Consulting, I told him, this is my vision. I need to look good all the time, number one. So that...
Too good sometimes.
Hallelujah, man. Hallelujah. We need to look good, Akir.
Of course.
So, and Maseko then makes sure that I look good with the rest of the team of the stylists and the designers that we work with. They make sure that when we present what it is that Christ has given to us, somebody said, dress the way you want to be addressed.
We dress for where we're going, not where we are.
Lalela.
Yes.
You get it. So for me, it's just excellence throughout. Excellence in the way in which you look. Excellence in the way in which, that's why I said, I will listen to the lyrics, not the voice. Excellence in the way in which you sound, and excellence all way around. So, I'll give that credit to my team.
So your team is taking all the credit for it?
They are, Shem. They are.
Okay. No problem. We're giving the credit to his team, because he's clearly saying that he has never picked out an outfit for himself. The team does it all. Right?
I do, man. I get they come with these things. Okay, this. What do you think? Bring that, bring this.
So you've never dressed yourself? Like, you listen here, you just go out into the shops, you pick something, or in your closet you get something and you say, listen here, it's all me today.
I do, Shem, sometimes,
Yeah, so you must take some credit.
Yeah, I do sometimes, but Pella, for most of these things, public appearances and all of that, my team does. But sometimes I also have a bit of an eye to dress myself. I take credit, it's fine.
Yeah, thank you. That's all we wanted to hear from you. Do you think, Odette, you have lived your purpose? Do you think you are living in your purpose? And do you think you are somehow fulfilling the purpose for which God has put you on this earth for?
I know we are. I'm starting to live in my purpose now. I know I'm starting to fulfill the mandate of God, or the mandate that God has put upon my life now. I am sure of it, and I pray by the grace of God we continue in this journey.
And what do you plan on doing differently compared to what you have done in the past 5-10 years from today moving forward?
As I said, excellence throughout. People are used to a lot of substandard things coming from the children of God, and that is not what I wish to be about. If anything, people should know that we serve a God of excellence. We serve a God that deserves everything and more, a God that blesses, a God who does not condone poverty, but who wants all of us to live in heavenly places while it's still on earth. Excellence in my field of work, and just raising the banner for Christ everywhere I go, but delivering everything with a standard of excellence.
Of course, they say quality over quantity.
There you go.
We beg it. That's all we want. Quality over quantity. And that's what we've been getting from you. And I'm sure that that's all we're going to be getting from you again for the next coming time. So what piece of advice would you have for anyone that is in ministry and within, not just limited to the music space, but generally anyone who has a calling in ministry? Because we are trying to unveil God's heart through ministry. What advice or what message do you have for anyone who is slowly getting into ministry, for someone who's already in ministry, just reminding them that, listen here, it is always about God and not about you?
You've just said it.
Okay.
It's always about God and not about us. That's one. Have faith in the fact that He who has given you the assignment is faithful and just to complete it. So when God tells you something, and you're sure it's God that told you to go and do something within ministry, right, or in ministry, He will take care of you, or He will take care of that thing, right, by the grace of God. As I said, for me, I said to the Lord, listen, I see this thing you're saying I should be doing free shows and allowing people. Give me the resources in order for me to be able to do that. And man, has He done it, right? So give God everything. Also, being in ministry or wanting to get into ministry needs you to have faith.
Yeah,
right.
Very important.
Needs you to have faith to say you are indeed called by God. There are some times that are going to look a bit shady to say, Mara Lord, ngempela, but still have faith even in such a moment. So you've got to have faith in the fact that God Himself has called you. He who has started a work in you is faithful and just to complete it. Yeah. Have faith in that. And secondly, do not try a hybrid approach of God's way and your way.
Yeah.
God's way and your way. You're going to fail. Because it's either God or your way. So as I said, it's always about God. In everything you do, it's always about God. Give Him the 100% control and He will take care of the rest.
Exactly. Give God the wheel. Some of us like to give Him the wheel. They're like, God, can I hold the clutch?
We feel like we are worthy suddenly to help. Who are you to help God? The Almighty God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. You, small you. Now you are able to now help Him. It's
leave it all to Him.
Exactly.
And the rest will follow.
Yes, sir.
Very beautiful. Odette, for those who want to get into contact with you, those who want to find you on the socials, those who want to stalk some of those beautiful outfits that you post, how can they get into contact with you? Where can they find you? Where can they follow you and all of that?
I am on Instagram. I'm at Odette Layton Music. I'm on Twitter at Odette Layton Music. I'm on Facebook, Odette Layton. See everything there. I've also released an EP. It's called the Love EP. Get it on all digital platforms, please. It's available. And on my social media, you'll be able to see where we are, where we're going, the events we'll be ministering at, and all of that.
Beautiful, Odette. Thank you so much for joining us. There you have it. That was Odette Layton with us here in studio, where we dived deep and went beyond the surface. We got into the matter of things with regards to his history, with regards to him and ministry. And he has given us a few beautiful gems that we definitely need to keep in our minds, in our hearts as children of God. It's always about God. It is always about Him, and we need to remember that we need to give out as much love as we can, and that's definitely going to draw us closer to God's heart in ministry as well. Once again, I was your host for today, Tim Bangila. As I said in the beginning, God's favorite child, and we cannot have any other one. And from us right here on Beyond the Surface, it is a goodbye and see you later.